name is Teoh, first name is Poh. I was born in Malaysia in a small fishing village north of Penang, about 50 miles north of Penang. During my mum and dad's time, having 11, 12, 13 children is norm. So if you can just imagine that my dad's family, there were 7 of them. 7 multiplied by 12 is quite a lot. But back home, the family unit is the most important. That's why if you look at the Chinese name, for example, the surname is always first and foremost important. The other memory is us being kids, I suppose, playing in the river, and fishing, and mud crabbing, and all that sort of stuff, all the fun stuff. My dad and the 3 brothers, they had to buy a boat and started to go out to sea to catch. But the fortunate thing was, the fish is so abundant, you won't believe it. Dad used to tell us that they used to go out first thing in the morning, scoop up all the fish, load to the brim, come back, unload, go back again, scoop up another load, come back. And that's what you do. And they did make a lot of money. My eldest uncle used to be the finance director or chief finance officer of the brothers. He used to manage all the money. And his favorite hobby was sleeping on money. Seriously, all his mattresses stuffed with money, all his pillows were stuffed with money, and he used to stuff all the money under the staircase, everything. Back in 1968, I think it was, the whole village was burned, with a few houses left along just the riverfront. All the money got burned, and they lost, today's money, probably millions. That's a lot of money. The government bought all the land back from the landowner, and they built sort of cheap low-cost housing and then allocated to each of the family. So we ended up as a big family in a small, very small little tiny house, and we were sleeping like salted fish next to each other. Well, I came to the UK in 1975, which is over 35 years ago now. And the cheapest way to get an education then was doing chartered accountancy, which is what I did. So I ended up in Birmingham. So on the train, just about arriving at New Street, we were talking among us friends who were traveling down from London, where we were staying and this and that. Then it struck me, I say, I ain't got no place to stay. When I arrived there, the guy sort of laughed at me and he said, you gotta be joking, it's beginning of term. There's no more accommodation left. So he said, your best bet would be to try the YMCA down the road. And by the time I arrived there, I was absolutely worn out. So I say, I'm so worn out, I cannot move anymore. If you don't give me a room, I got to sleep on your floor tonight. And he looked through his chart and everything, and he said, well, if it is only for one night, we just about squeeze you in. But it was very fortunate because during that night, we had the 3 Chinese chaps came looking for a 4th person to share a house with them. They say, we got to share cooking chore because each of us are studying, so we got to take turns, and everybody has got to do like once a week at least. And I said, of course I can cook, lying through my teeth because I never ever cooked in my life. And from there, you know, like some experience in life, you sort of take to it like duck to water sort of thing. In terms of the household, it was very welcoming. I mean, because nearby we got quite a few Malaysians that's come over, and you know, some other local people from overseas, and we tend to get a group together, and you know, we tend to congregate together and drinks and have parties and whatnot. So it was very welcoming. I sort of got an article with a firm in Uxbridge, so I came down to London. That's where I met my wife. 1989, I suppose. 1989. I came to work in the West Country. I was working in finance for a company. The first venture that I did on my own was in the supermarket. We were fortunate enough to be able to get sufficient funds together to be able to purchase it with the bank funding the balance of it. But after a short while, we realized that it was a huge mistake because the whole place was crumbling down and we had to do huge amount of work. It cost a fortune to put it together and make sure that, you know, it doesn't crumble down. After the renovation, we moved the supermarket from where we're sitting now down to the front. So we were thinking that, you know, the redundant space, what we're going to do with it. And one of the things that we were looking at was maybe a cafe to serve, you know, the bored husband that came with the wife to shop, that they can sit in the cafe, have a beer or sandwich or whatever. Cookery school started 2 years after we opened our first restaurant. And the whole idea behind the cookery school was to be able to impart the knowledge that we have to people.
Put the egg and whatever.
It is very sociable, as I said previously, by virtue that when we prepare something, it's always a huge pot. And people used to pop in, out. Any relatives that come along, help themselves. And it's unbelievable, it's just an open door.
You don't want me to see that?
No, you can build them, I don't mind. I am more passionate about people being able to appreciate about ingredients, how to put it together, how to balance the flavor. Because I think food can change a person's life. I mean, I've had lots of students who's never cooked in their life, and now they end up cooking at least once or twice a week for their family. It is fantastic, you know, and to be able to do different types of food, and it's just enhancing other culture, other type of food into the family. 15 years ago, you would have seen a lot of the buildings along the street being boarded up, vacant, derelict, with lots of graffiti and all sorts. Now you walk down the street, all the properties are occupied. You've got nice bright colour, safe to walk around. Bristol as a city is quite an incredible city, really, because I mean you've got quite an incredible initiative all over the place being set up. People are very passionate about the city as a whole. As to what I like to see, Bristol is probably to see all the underdeveloped area where, you know, some of it is no-go, like Hartcliffe and places like that, to be brought into the fold. That, you know, hopes for my family, maybe over the next few years. I mean, at the moment, both my children are working with us. That over the next few years, my wife and myself might be able to take it more part-time, and they can run the business more. It'll be quite nice. Well, I mean, from my background and, you know, how we were brought up, I think my greatest satisfaction is not the number of businesses I have, not the profit that we made, but in actual fact, it's my family. My 2 children that has been brought up properly, and I got a fantastic family together. And that's my greatest success. Because my dad has always said to us when we were young, your riches is in your family. That's it. And friends, I would add as well.